Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called Speed Limit. Back in my high school days, the school decided that the parking lot speed limit for cars would be 5 miles per hour. In theory, a good thing. Reduces the chance of collisions greatly, and any that happen should be very minor. Now, here's the thing. The number of people that followed that is exactly 0. Not the parents, not the teachers, not the students. We are a K-12 school, so it was mostly parents. Now, the administration, who has since been going on monthly power trips, didn't like that and decided to start handing out speeding tickets, written warnings that you would lose your parking pass and get an email home. So we, around 30 of 100 high schoolers who had cars, decided to play around with it. Now, normally, car lines takes about 20 minutes. Between when we leave, we get out a few minutes early so our cars are out of the way, and when the car line is mostly done, aside from a few stragglers. And that's with most cars going at about 10 to 15 miles per hour in the giant parking lot we had, which couldn't be used for parents to park. Well, that's too short, we decided. Every high schooler with a car did less than 5 miles per hour through the parking lot. Normally, by the time the smaller kids got into their cars, we were gone. But not anymore. We were crawling through the parking lot at idle speed. What normally took 5 minutes to clear 30 cars, now took 10. And it had consequences. The entire car line for the other 500 students was now also moving at idle speed. Car line started taking 30 minutes on a good day. To say parents were livid is an understatement. Complaints filled the Facebook page. And the sassier parents reminded everyone that we just followed rules set by the beloved admin. Beloved everywhere but the high school. With only one way out and us having to get out before parents because we were literally in the way, our change screwed up the entire car line. In fact, it got so bad that the school was told to fix it by the city, or there would be consequences, since we started backing up a major road during the rush hour. At the start of the next year, the habit fell out, since most of the 30 people had left, and we went back to going a safe but above the speed limit speed in the parking lot. It's been 2 years, not a thing has been said. The next story is called Font Size. I had always been doing multimedia for my church for years and years, so displaying lyrics and creating PowerPoint slides are second nature to me. I was scheduled to take care of the multimedia this morning, so as usual, I came and created what's needed. I set up all of the lyrics, Bible verses, and the slides that were sent from the speaker before I went to the restroom. I saw the guy who usually plays the bass, Nate, but he wasn't on schedule today. He was having a conversation with another person behind the multimedia station. I went back to my station and started pre-displaying everything on the screen to make sure that I can read everything. So that's what I did, before I noticed that Nate was looking at my station. 5 minutes before we start, Nate suddenly asked what I prepared. I showed him everything, the lyrics, the Bible verses, the slides, just to satisfy his curiosity. I don't really like Nate for several reasons. He believes in a lot of conspiracies people shared on social media, and when someone questioned him, he argued non-stop. Most of us just try to avoid starting a conversation with him entirely, including me. Also, whenever he's scheduled to play bass, he turned his amp's volume quite high, higher than the other musical instruments, so that I can feel the vibration every time he plugs his bass. And the multimedia station is at the very back of the room. He's just super obnoxious. Apparently, his obnoxiousness is at a high rate today, because as soon as he saw the slides I prepared, he said that the font size is too small. He didn't say, it might be too small. No, he said, it's too small. I told him that it's fine. It's the regular font size we all use week after week, but he wouldn't drop it. By this time, the service started, but for some reason, he didn't go to find an empty seat in the audience. Rather, he sat on a stool behind my station, while repeatedly telling me that the font is too small. By this point, I was listening to his font mantra behind me, while displaying the lyrics for the singers. After a couple minutes, I asked him if he's planning to sit with the audience. His response? your font is too small. You need to increase it. I can't believe it. He's so fixated on my slide's font size that he refused to leave me alone until I fulfill his wishes. By this point, even the pastor's wife asked him to please have a seat in the audience, in which he told her that it's better for him to sit there, because if he sat in the audience, he wouldn't be able to see anything. I had enough. While still controlling the displayed lyrics, I also edited the slides while he watched, so I'm multitasking. Mind you, the service has already begun, so I can't actually display the slides just to make sure. I increased the font so big that the slides look ridiculous. Before, there were only 10 slides, and one slide could contain 6 to 7 lines of 2 to 3 Bible verses, with a translation section below it. Now there are about 40 slides, with 15 plus lines that contain only 6 words each. I can barely fit the translation part, and each slide could contain only 1 verse. It looked totally atrocious. After witnessing his destruction, he patted me on my back, gave me a thumbs up, and went to find an empty seat. I looked at the pastor's wife, and even she shook her head. During the sermon, it was extremely awkward. The speaker was having a difficult time reading from the screen, because he kept on pausing after each line. I also have to switch the slides quicker than before, because each only consisted of 1 verse, which interrupted the speaker's pace. After 10 minutes, the speaker gave up and just read from his own Bible, which most audiences follow suit. I witnessed many audiences pull up their Bible app from their phone and just read from there, even Nate. So I texted Nate, "Why are you reading from your phone? I thought you wanted the font bigger so you can read from the screen." In response, he turned and glared at me silently. After the service was finished, the speaker approached me and asked if everything was okay, because the slides didn't look like what I usually make. The pastor's wife approached us, was very apologetic, and explained everything. Then we looked for Nate, but we couldn't find him in the crowd. I guess he was too embarrassed to admit his monstrosity. The last story is called Focus. My manager, Sam, is extremely chill and an outstanding leader. His manager, Murad, is a stickler for the rules. I work as an infrastructure and configuration manager. I also love automation and automate everyday tasks for myself, my team, and sometimes management as well. Most of management loves it. Murad is not a fan though. He wants me to focus on my own work, and he loves doing things manually. This is from 2022. My son had been ill for 2 weeks. He's on demand, but requires constant monitoring to take his meds and fluids every hour. You cannot expect that discipline from a toddler. I have taken a leave for a week to focus on his recovery. In my absence, Sam has been handling most of my work. I check and reply to mails at the end of the day. I am not required to do this, and Sam asked me not to, but I do it anyway, just to get ahead of potential issues the project might face due to my absence. At the end of the week, a management meetup is scheduled. Now, only management, team managers, scrum masters, system architects are required for the call. But this type of management meetup is a potential goldmine for automation ideas, so I usually join in. In the previous 3 months, by joining this monthly meeting and taking automation ideas that came out of them, I had saved the project and management around 100 hours of cumulative work weekly. The meeting starts on Friday morning. It's a regional holiday for a lot of people, so most have joined from home. About 20 people have joined. I have joined as well from my home. My son is seated beside me, and I am teaching him how to play chess. The meeting doesn't really take a lot of focus from me, so my son doesn't mind. He is actually fascinated by most of my work, even though he is too young to understand any of it. Most of my teammates and Sam know my son, having interacted with him during several calls. Suddenly, Murad joins the call. He is usually never in this call, as he rarely gets along with the agenda, or the way the call usually goes. The demeanor is usually pretty casual. People calling each other by names instead of official salutations. People talking in native languages sometimes. Murad, being everyone's boss and having a giant pole up his rear, commands a serious tone from every meeting he is in. However, on this very occasion, it seems he wants to join in on the casual camaraderie. He wants everyone to turn on their cameras. Everyone takes a minute and the screen starts to light up with everyone's video. It seems most have hastily put on a formal shirt. Sam chimes in, asking me to keep my camera off because it's not required. Murad cuts in. Why is he here? Must be to take minutes. He can turn his camera on as well. Actually, I'm on leave today. I joined in case my input is needed for any automation. That's fine, but please turn on your camera. It would be good for everyone to see everyone else. I turn my camera on. Both my son and I and the chessboard between us is visible. I am using a wide-angle camera. My shirt reads, I work for money. For loyalty, hire a dog. That shirt is not office appropriate. It is quite appropriate for home though, where I currently am. You also seem to be playing chess. I would suggest you take your work seriously. Please focus on the matter at hand. You are right, I should focus. And with that, I disconnected the call. In a call later, Sam said that while he explained to Murad that I was on leave, at that moment, in front of 20 other people, the sound of me disconnecting felt surreal. It's 2024. My automations have saved the project around 430 hours and the company around 250 hours weekly. Murad never joins that call anymore. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.